It's cold around these here parts, very cold. So we came out of like a 6-month winter. All of a sudden it was 86 degrees, and smells lit up the yard. I'm like, okay, we have dead animals. And at first I thought, okay, LD is somewhere, you know, but then I'm walking around, I'm like, no, because you can't be everywhere. And I've got a smell in the backyard, I've got another smell in the front yard, another smell in the front yard. And I'm like, oh crap. So I thought, you know, I have more, it made my tongue burn, gave me a headache. Warning signals that these are not good smells to have. I've smelled dead animal in the woods before, you know, like deer, so, and it smelled like that. So I'm like, okay, this sucks. But now, as a Hilton heiress or whatever, why, there's a deer staring at me, hang on. I took care of the deer. So I'm going around, I'm like, oh God, you know, I've hosted all these squirrels in these cabins, and now I need to do the hard work. I need to go in and take care of things. I need to take care of things. I steeled myself, I put things off, I emotionally ate, and then I went up on a ladder, and I went up in the first one, and I grabbed a big stick, and I thought, I'm not going to stick my hand right in there, I'm going to use a stick and just get the junk out. So I did, and sure enough, a squirrel corpse came out, and it was very upsetting. Okay, I've confirmed my fears. This is what's going on. I've got dead squirrels in these cabins. But the good news, I told myself, they died in peace. They died with dignity. They didn't die being eaten to death. I could not even edit the rest of this video. Like, my talking was so slow and driving me crazy. So I'm just going to say this as fast as I can. I move along. I eventually get to a cabin that is right outside the house. The smell was in the house, even with the doors closed, the windows closed. I mean, it was bad because the air comes this way. And so I go in there, I'm using the stick method. I very carefully, I'm prodding around with the stick. Oh, it's Mealy Mouth. Hey, Mealy. Hey, Mealy. Mealy doesn't usually come this early. So, or this far in the house. So I'm using the stick, squirrel comes out. I thought it was a frog. Well, first the hard things came out that didn't come out of the first one, that didn't look like squirrels, but I mean, it was really bizarre. I think they were decayed dead baby squirrels, because eventually, like, out comes this one, and I'm like, wow, a frog came out. I'm looking at it, I'm like, dude, that's not a frog. It was greenish gray. It was not a frog. It was a squirrel. It was a baby gray squirrel. And I was like, holy crap, and it was alive. So I go down there, and I'm like, and the mother was like looking at me. She had come out when I started to clean. So she was looking at me like, we were both kind of looking at each other like, now what? You know what I mean? And I was pointing, going, it's alive, and looking at her. And so I thought she would take it back up, but she wasn't. And then there was a hawk alert, and she was dealing with that. And I'm trying to protect this baby squirrel who doesn't have his eyes open yet. It was, probably a large baby squirrel, I'd say, because later I held it in my hand, and its body was pretty much the size of my hand. I went through a lot of stuff. I went through a lot of decision making, and what I eventually came to was the squirrel needs to be with its mother, not with me, even though I was dying to take it in because, oh man, it was so cute, and I held it in my hand. I knew where its mother was. I knew where its nest was. I could reach the nest via the ladder. There was no reason for me not to put it back. So I went up, and now I used my hands. I had gloves on, big thick gloves, and I used my hands, and I very carefully pulled stuff out of the nest, and you know, made sure, like, I had an Aldi bag with me. So if I had any more alive squirrels, I was going to put it in the Aldi bag, take it down, put it in the nest that I had created, the ground nest that I had created for the baby squirrel while he waited for me to clean his nest out. And it was made of Thompson grass. It was LD's end of life litter box, actually. So it was Thompson grass, which is what rabbits eat, that I had. And he actually really seemed to like that box. So I did feel a little bad about taking him out of there and putting him back in the cabin. But when I finally did, you know, I didn't find any more live squirrels. So then I cleaned out the whole box. I used water instead of any kind of, even though I was dying to use something that would actually kill, quote unquote, the smell, like 7th generation stuff. But I knew, not cool, you know, I mean, you can't stick a baby squirrel back in where you've used cleaning agent, and then I'd be afraid the mother would reject the squirrel, so not an option. So I used a ton of water, a ton of water. It was so gross, and it got all the smell out as best I could with water, and then put all that in a garbage bag and stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, so then I put the baby squirrel in an Aldi bag after telling it, I can't wait to meet you again, you know, because eventually when it's all done being raised, it's going to come out and we can be together again. And, but boy, I fell in love. I really wanted to bring him in. And like today, I'm like fighting the urge to go get him. It's snowing right now. And I took leaves that I had from last fall and stuffed them in there. And so he has nice fresh leaves that don't stink. And I clean everything out and I put him back in. And when I put him in, there's like 2 shelves inside the cabin. He grabbed on with his upper paws to the lower shelf and like did a pull up and pulled himself up, so you could tell he's strong for a baby. He still doesn't have his eyes open, but he was pretty strong. And you could tell he knew he was in a familiar surrounding. So with his eyes not open yet, I really felt good that I put him back in there and I didn't bring him somewhere new that he was unfamiliar and his eyes aren't even open and now where's his mom and all that. And I didn't want to traumatize the mother, because if her kid was all of a sudden missing, you know, not cool. So, oh, it was so hard though. So I put him back and now he's in there and it's snowing, but he's in a super clean, awesome box right now that doesn't stink. So he was probably wondering like, why does Earth smell this bad? But now it doesn't. And then after I did that, I was afraid the mother would reject it. I was so afraid. I'm like, how do I know she's not going to reject the squirrel? Well, I know that she didn't, because I even got a little bit of video. I didn't want to get too close to her because I didn't want to upset her at all. But from a window, I got a video of her she was just on the porch making sure nothing further happened. So that's really cool. So that lets me know she's definitely taking care of him. She's not, you know, blowing the whole thing off or whatever, or blowing him off or leaving him for dead. So I feel good. She's going to take care of him. I think I did the right thing. And but boy, he was cute. I just fell in love. I had gloves on the whole time to make sure that he wouldn't get any human smells. I think I'm all done. Oh wait, I got one more. You good? Oh no, she doesn't want that one. We're in trouble because I don't have any more. All right, so I wore gloves the whole time, and I had these thin plastic gloves when I held them in the palm of my hand. Oh, I'm telling you, it was so hard not to just be like, I'm gonna keep you. You know what? You can't. You want to, but you can't. So I put him back. But he is amazing. I can't wait to see him again. And I feel good knowing that he is not in there with his eyes bleeding like mine were from that god-awful smell. I mean, I think he must have had a sibling or two that didn't make it. That's probably those hard things that I pulled out that just smelled so horrible. But in any case, he's all right. So we're good. I think we got it. We got at least one little one. And that tells me, I thought Hansi and Pippi were pregnant right now because of their sporty V-shaped nipples. But now they probably already have kids. I'm guessing if that lady did, if that squirrel did. Babies. We're having babies, people. But then this guy came out. He was moving around more before. He's alive. He's alive. And I pet him with my plastic glove on, and he's doing all right in there. Getting his place cleaned out.